Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS. Now it's real time, sponsored by the Mill Casino.
Welcome back, everyone. We're joined in the studio by Deshaun and Kayla Berry from Get Hooked. Each year, we're lucky enough to have them here in the studio to talk about what they've got coming up. And there's a number of events that they've got going on. One in particular is over at Hag Lake that we're going to talk about. But it's great to see you, man.
Good to see you, too.
Usually by this time of year, I'm like, hey, man, that was a great duck hunt. We didn't get one of those this last year.
We did not.
Good to see you, Deshaun.
You too, man.
Good to see you.
I did invite you, though.
I know.
I invited you twice.
But at least you were honest and said, dude, it sucks. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it was tough.
It was a brutal year.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I put a lot of, and you do too as well, and you know how it is, duck hunting's duck hunting. But it was a very difficult season. How about winter steelhead season for you guys?
The
Same thing?
Same thing.
Okay, at least I'm not the only one, because
yeah.
it was brutal.
It was.
It was. And I know that you guys can find them if they're around. It was just one of those situations that just felt like they just weren't there.
Either they came early or we weren't in time, or
We did decent like early on, and then it just
died off.
It just kind of just died off.
When do you guys start chasing springers? I know you like spending times in tributaries, not necessarily on the big river, but when do you guys start chasing those? Are you waiting a little bit, or what are you doing?
We usually start into March.
Okay.
You know, into March, we'll start chasing them in. You know, we got one on our first trip out. You know, it's on my birthday. Kayla got her first pass.
I did.
So,
nice.
I felt bad. I felt bad.
Why?
He didn't feel bad.
No.
He didn't feel bad.
You rubbing that in. Sorry, Dad.
He was like, don't put it back in though. I gotta get my fish. I'm like, I'll sit there and wait.
I was like, I'm not taking a hand off of you. No way. No way. No.
Even on your birthday?
Not even on my birthday, man.
Hey, happy birthday, Dad? No. Oh.
I'm like, you better keep that. Let it go.
Good fish?
Yeah, it was a decent sized fish. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's started out weird with springers. It's going to get better. I think this week's going to be really good, like we mentioned earlier. Hopefully you guys can get out and have some fun.
Yeah.
I know that this upcoming event, though, at Hag Lake, that's your big one each year, and that's on the 17th.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Correct.
May 17th.
Okay, so remember that. May 17th, Get Hooked event that's going on over there at Hag Lake. We're going to have the information for you coming up. But tell everybody, for some of those folks that may not have seen us here on the air talking about it, what does Get Hooked do in this event on the 17th? What's going to be happening there?
Definitely. Well, Get Hooked was just created just to basically get kids outside and get them outdoors. Our conduit is fishing. We're fishermen, and so we just work on getting people, taking away all the barriers that are out there to getting outdoors, whether it be licensing, information about what you can and cannot catch. We just try to fill in that spot, and so we do a lot of events with different organizations on an annual basis. This event's our third annual out at Hag Lake. It's a fishing tournament. It's a great tournament. Last year, I think we had 380 participants.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was busy.
Busy, very busy.
Busy.
We've opened up registration to 400, but we got room to go up to 600 also this time on. So we're anticipating a good turnout. ODFW is going to be stocking the lake for us heavily that week before. I can't say the dates, but they'll be in there. And so it's a great event, great way to get the family out. There's a small charge for families, $20 for up to a family of 6. So, works out to basically a couple bucks for family members. But we'll have some great prizes.
Awesome
some
prizes.
Great vendors out there. And it's just, we're really excited about it as always.
And it's a one-day event on the 17th?
It's a one-day event on the 17th.
Okay.
It's an actual fishing tournament, so we'll be judging, just the size of fish, and we'll have a kids and an adult section, so kids, have their own prizes, and we'll definitely be looking for some prizes for donations for prizes if there's any vendors out there who want to donate prizes and so on and so forth.
Sure. And you guys have a lot of folks that help out with donating different sort of prizes with different vendors that are out there. Tournament though. Yeah. Boat tournament and bank, so you don't have to have a boat.
Nope, you don't have to have a boat. And the biggest fish came off the bank last year.
It did.
It always does. I bet you it was power bait plunking.
Yeah, it was. And so, that's the thing about fishing is if you're fishing, you never know what you're going to catch. We don't know where it's going to come from.
Yeah.
And so that's why we opened it up for boats and for bank. And so we wanted to give the people on the bank an opportunity to, just to be just as competitive with someone on the boat.
Yeah, well, it's fun. I mean, the whole thing is for fun. It's a charitable event. Everybody's there to have fun, learn from each other. But if you can have that aspect of a little bit of a competition, a good way, it's certainly a ton of fun. So, Caleb, when folks are out there, I mentioned earlier that it's not always just about fishing. There's a lot of things that you show the kids and the families that are out there about the outdoors overall. You mentioned it a little bit just a second ago. It can be a bit intimidating if it's for your first time.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of regulations. There's a lot of things that people might think is Hey, I can just go fishing. Well, you can't. Unfortunately, it just works out that way. But tell everybody kind of what some of those barriers are for folks that are new at it. They're like, listen, we'd love to get the kids out, but we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, come to a Get Hooked event, literally. I mean, that's like probably your best start would be coming to one of our events. I mean, I can tell countless stories of kids that we've literally took from the first day not knowing how to angle, and by the end of the day, they're casting and baiting their own hook.
Right.
I can say that there's a lot of things that we do that we've done for years that just help set up kids to be able to fish and have an idea of what's going on. You know, it's like you said, it's not easy getting into fishing, you know, especially as a family, it can be a little bit intimidating. It's like, where do we go, you know, but I think that's why we're here, to bridge that gap, to help people get started and help people figure out a way that they can get outside and get their family, because it's connected me and my dad and some of my friends. Like, the outdoors is everything to us, and I mean, the more that we can get people involved outside, it'll eventually help some of the causes that we believe in.
Well, no doubt about it. There's not enough education out there. We could lose things. It's already happening. We still got lots of folks that are involved. It just seems like things are getting tougher and tougher when you're talking about other things that are, you know, negative out there. Okay, so you mentioned some of your friends and you mentioned some of the families. You guys have helped thousands of people get into the outdoors over the years. And one of the things that I know, mainly because of Rods and Reels in Need, that the expense can be overwhelming. Especially for your very first time. I mean, if you get a family that's going over to Fisherman's for the first time and they want to get themselves rigged up, by the time they get through 3 or 4 setups and gear, that can be a bunch of dough right up front, not knowing if it's going to be something that you're even going to be interested in. And at these events, with some of your partnerships, folks can go home with that gear to get involved out there. Yeah,
Pete Fogel with Rods and Reels, Larry Stamp with Rods and Reels, they've been great. They've partnered with us on getting the poles. You know, we have setups there for people to use, but they've actually went above and beyond to where kids could take a fishing pole home, and that's so important. The costs of everything is going up, and so it's important for organizations, for us to partner with organizations like Pete. And thank you, Pete. I'll be calling you. I missed your call this weekend. To partner with organizations like Pete to give those fishing poles away and put them in the hands of people who actually need them. And Pete's done a great job with that. He's very passionate about what he does, and I love working with passionate people like that. And like I said, it's even a better feeling to send someone home with something they can use again. And so we appreciate that partnership more than words can even express.
And it's a great partnership. You guys have covered a lot of ground. Yesterday we actually had some folks that came to the Fisherman's Marine Store where I was at in Oregon City and had asked, where do we donate all these? And it's right there at Fisherman's. You can donate rods, reels, tackle, terminal gear. You can go buy it and then turn it over right there at the table where you're paying out and donate it to Rods and Reels in Need, which ultimately gets into the hands of kids and families through a number of organizations. Get Hooked, of course, but there's a lot of ways that you can do it. One individual said he had gathered stuff for the last 30 years and he's going to donate it all.
Wow.
You know,
he said hundreds of rods and combos that he's acquired over the years, and we talked for quite a while, so that'll be interesting.
I don't know how Pete does it, because I had to stop taking donations, just because it was overwhelming. You know, and of course we love that. You know, every time we come on the show, there's someone who calls us with donations, and we'll typically refer them to Pete. But the community plays a huge part in the success of Rods and Reels and Get Hooked. You know, there's only me and Caleb trying to run these events, and we rely heavily on just community partners, people out of the goodness of their heart who donate their time, donate old gear to get it in kids' hands. And, you know, we make sure we get it in the right people's hands so they can use it and, you know, have an addiction like ours.
Well, I think that's the perfect way we'll end this segment that way. When we come back, let's talk about how you can get involved. If you want to volunteer, if you want to donate, what's the best way to do it? And for those that might not be able to make it to that event on the 17th at Hag Lake, they got a lot of other ones as well as we get into the summertime, so we'll cover that as well with the folks from Get Hooked. Don't go anywhere.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Chevy Silverado and the impressive Turbo Max engine. Flex your muscle with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Official truck of Outdoor GPS.